Adam Hawk, really quickly. Put him on. Did you or did you not have a Matt in LA encounter over the weekend? Here's why I want to ask the question. There's a lot of people who have their opinion about Matt. Let me translate that. A lot of people hate Matt. I'm not one of them. I host the show. I always put him on the program. Obviously, I don't hate Matt. In fact, I like Matt, and I like what he brings to it. Did you have an encounter with Matt in LA over the weekend?
Yeah, I did. I spent Saturday morning with Matt and his wife and a couple of other clones and their wives, and Matt was a lovely,
Let me stop you right there. So how did that come to be?
Luis in Palmdale is a clone to this show, and he...
For those who do not know, what's his story?
He has a pretty incredible story where he is a type 2 diabetic who had his right foot amputated after an injury, gained a lot of weight, was over 400 pounds, had kidney failure, and the only way for that kidney to be replaced or for him to get on a transplant list was to lose weight, or else it wouldn't be a viable procedure. So he lost 200 pounds, found a kidney through a donor. He was at a Disturbed concert at the Forum here in Los Angeles, and he was wearing a shirt that said, "I need a kidney. This is my blood type." And someone in the crowd saw it and anonymously went to Cedars-Sinai and made the donation. And now those two people, Luis and the donor, are very, very, very tight friends, and they talk every day. So
can we back that up really? That is incredible. He went to a Disturbed concert rocking a shirt which "I need a kidney." Somebody saw it, saw the blood type, did not say anything, and donated a kidney?
That is correct. You ran that back perfectly.
And he lost 200 pounds to put himself in position to be a qualified recipient.
That's exactly right.
How did he lose 200 pounds?
According to him, he just changed his diet and started exercising and just really buckled down and went after it. He's like on a water-only regimen when it comes to beverages, totally cut out alcohol, watched what he ate, and then the weight came off. And
Did you say he had an amputated limb?
Yeah, his right foot is amputated. He was a type 2 diabetic that had an injury and then lost his foot because of it. So he wears a prosthetic foot. And yeah, he's just got a crazy story. So 90 days after...
Luis in Palmdale was the guy we're talking about.
Yes,
So that brings us to this past weekend.
Yeah, so 90 days after the kidney transplant, he wanted to do a 5K, which is a 3.1 mile run or walk, depending on what you want to do. And he signed up for it. 4 out of 5 doctors told him not to do it. 1 out of 5 said you can do it, and he wanted to defy the odds. So he invited me and some clones to go out there. So we went out and we met him in Los Alamitos. And
Los Al?
Oh, yeah.
Great
spot.
Love it.
Yeah, so Matt came. So did Eric and Corona and his wife. Matt's wife was there. Luis and Palmdale and his wife were there. And we walked with him. And he finished the walk in 1 hour and 10 minutes. His goal was 1 hour and 15 minutes, so he beat that. And it was a pretty emotional crossing of the finish line because he's 90 days removed from a kidney transplant. His body's totally getting used to having a new kidney. It was a really cool moment to be a part of. And I spent a lot of that walk with Matt. And Matt, I get that people hate how much time he gets on this show.
Have you ever met him before?
No, I've never met Matt in person. And Matt is as genuine as it gets. Just a super cool guy. Gym Rome disciple through and through. I mean, we talked sports, we talked life, we talked family. He's got kids too.
DA.
DA, of course. Yeah, he would have loved to have gotten back at DA in the smack off. Didn't get that opportunity, which a lot of people love that he got iced out, which was funny.
Did you say Matt has fam? He has kids?
Yeah, he's got 3 kids, if I remember correctly, and just a super cool dude. I had my family around Matt too, and my 3-year-old daughter loved Matt.
He had his family around you. All
yeah,
right?
That's true.
Don't act like you had your family around Matt. Matt had his family around you.
Yes. It was super cool. Very inspiring day. This audience has a lot of really, really good people in it. And Luis and Matt and Eric and their wives are part of that really awesome group.
Luis is like a 20-year listener, right?
Luis has one of the coolest jungle stories ever. So he goes way back with you to when he listened in high school, and he works at call centers, and he had to go train people in the Philippines. And so what he would do is he would use one of the phone lines there to call home base in California, a guy back the jungle, which was on Mighty 690 at the time. It would come back through speakerphone there, and they would listen in the Philippines together. And that's how he taught a lot of those people how to speak to Americans. It was like Jim Rome talks the way they talk over in America. So they learned.
Not really, but okay.
They learned from listening to the Jungle coming through a telephone way back in the 90s. And Luis still keeps in contact with them. And he says, you've got, 3 or 4 clones that he hung out with in the 90s that still live in the Philippines.
So what about this gal that donated the kidney? Was she there this past weekend?
She wasn't there. So the thing about kidney transplants is they're as good for the person to receive them as they are bad for the person to give them. So her body's still getting used to not having that kidney. And so she wasn't feeling great.
You imagine sharing a kidney with somebody you do not know. This is not like a family member or a good friend, which is the ultimate sacrifice anyway. But what an amazing person she is.
Yeah, definitely. And you learn a lot. Like I didn't know anything about kidney transplants until I picked up the phone and called Luis and talked about it. So there's a lot of stuff that you can learn through, just talking to people who've been through it. And then what's cool about like the running community takes a whole lot of crap for being kind of like a D-bag place where like guys with neon go out and try to set world records. And I totally get that. I kind of had that feeling about it.
Right.
But,
you're one of those guys.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people out there who are out there for a different reason. And they're out there to prove something to themselves and prove something to their family.
Of course.
And that's a huge part of the community. And what really attracts me to it is a lot of it is self-proof. And Luis walking an hour and 10 minutes on a brand new kidney 90 days after the transplant was one of the most inspiring things.
Dude, I'm so used to bringing you in here to berate you. And amazing story. And I've heard almost every story about the culture of the show and the people who come together. And this is what I mean when I say we want to come together and mobilize. You as somebody who's been in this industry and you understand the business, you love the business. And I know that when you first got here, you were kind of blown away by like, dude, I do not believe the culture of the jungle. There are so many amazing things that go on that people do not know about.
Absolutely.
Nothing more amazing than that. But there are amazing things beneath the surface that most people listening would never know.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. The interaction and the crowd engagement and listener engagement when I got here was something that I didn't know existed in radio. And I had worked on some pretty big shows before I got here. And I was like, wow, this is a very rabid, very loyal fan base that goes back decades. And I just feel like I'm, a part of something that's been on course for a really long time, and I take it very seriously, and it's an honor to work on this show. And these listeners, they supersede me by years and years and years and years. So I just like being a part of it and hearing their stories. And that's why, you got people that are going to be coming in from Toronto and other states to this tour stop and are so excited to do it because it is a fan base unlike any other.
Not you, Hawk. You're not welcome to come.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure that I got that in. All right.
Got it. So other national shows don't have this at all. And it's really cool.
So what about Luis? What's his Twitter handle? If people want to reach out to him, maybe, is that a good idea or not a good idea?
Sure, yeah. He's all about getting this story out there because it could potentially help the next person. It could also inspire people to get out there and walk or run if they are being told like, hey, take it easy. No, go do it. Go defy the odds. He's at Luis in Palmdale on Twitter, at Luis in Palmdale.
So the point of that, aside from that's a story that needed that kind of attention, the point in that is I want to make sure that we're not all what we appear, and we know this, that I wanted Adam to come on and say, I spent some time with Matt. The Matt you hear might not be the actual Matt. And I want to spend some time with Adam Hawk, that even though we have some fun and I take some runs at Adam, that story tells you the kind of guy that Adam is as well. And Luis, my man, I had no idea. I mean, I knew this story now for several weeks because Adam had told me, but I had no idea what you were dealing with. I just remember getting, I want to say like faxes back in the day. Certainly emails, but I feel like Luis in Palmdale was sending me faxes back in the day. But if he was actually working the show and in the Philippines, right, in the 90s, getting the live feed from Extra Sports, the Mighty 690, that is incredible. So check him out on Twitter. Luis, I could not be happier for you. Extremely proud of you. And again, how about that anonymous person? He went to a Disturbed concert wearing a shirt saying, I need a kidney. And a woman saw the shirt and had a matching blood type and gave him a kidney. It's incredible. So with all the just hate and negativity and bitterness, you hear a story like that. An amazing story within the jungle. The jungle walls. Good job, Adam. Well done. Beaks in Studio City is in. He says, Matt and Luis are some of the nicest clones you'll ever meet. I don't doubt that for a second. I know this. Stuck nuts in. So, people in the Philippines know about the Rat family. Let me tell you about those folks that he was introducing the language and the show to. They know the best parts of the show. Because the show was never better than it was then. You know why? Because I could do whatever the hell I wanted then. Not have to worry about somebody freaking out. And somebody coming for my job. Because I wasn't nice. You gotta love me teaching English back in the day. When the glossary ran the world. When everything was a glossary item. Met those people. All these people, like, the people that he was teaching English to back then, you imagine like the first English word they learned being slump buster? All right, class. What is the word that we use to describe Rochester, New York? Crapchester. What is the word that we use to describe something baseball players do when they want to snap out of a slump? Slump bust. What was the phrase that we used to depict that story about that degenerate couple in Omaha, Nebraska that had sex on a deceased dog? Dead dogahaw? Omaha! Literally, that was the show back in the day. How do you think I got to this big white desk on TV? All right, pop quiz. Get your pencils out. What is the capital, class, of California? Sacramento. All right, everybody. What is the name of the Red Sox shortstop? Star Red Sox shortstop. I got it. Nosmar Garcia Pop-Up. Yeah, I'm just saying these things because this literally was the show back in the 90s. That passed for good radio back in the 90s. No, that passed for amazing radio back in the 90s. Hall of Fame radio. Kyle Brandt used to always say to me, damn, man, I got here 10 years too late. That sounded like an amazing show. I'm like, oh, it was a great show. Like, dude, you've made this a better show, but not better than that. This guy's Twitter handle is @VanSmack. VANSMAQ. That story about Luis is just amazing. It shows the amazing power of humanity and the jungle. Immense respect. You know what, bro? You can rock my handle, sending tweets like that. Jeff 2 tweets, that story just told on your show about Luis in Palmdale was one of the most incredible things I have ever heard in my 20 years or 25 years as a clone. War Luis and War Luis's donor. I agree. Adam Hawk came to my office one day several weeks back and said, you got a few minutes? I want to tell you an amazing story. I said, yeah, tell me. And he laid out that story. And I said, Hawk, that is an amazing story. That is incredible. So I'm glad that you all came together. Luis, I'm proud of you, bro. Very happy for you and proud of you. And that moves me significantly. And I can't say enough about that woman that I don't know. That is the power of humanity, as that person points out on Twitter. All right. I went to a Disturbed show with a shirt asking for a better taste in music. A dummy. This guy found a kidney at a Disturbed show. It's an absolutely amazing story. And that's the best you can do, Jeremy. I went to a Disturbed show with a shirt asking for a better taste in music. Luis went to a Disturbed show asking for a kidney. It saved his life. Clones being clones. I retweeted Luis. And he tweeted out 5 minutes ago, humbled and thank you to @JimRome, or thankful to @JimRome, and I'm Adam Hawk for sharing the incredible story of my kidney transplant and the gift of life given by Joy. So this gal's name is Joy, and he's got her handle in there too. And then he's got the sweatshirt that he wore. And it says, I need a kidney. donorforluis.com, blood type O+. Take a picture, share on social media, be a hero. I mean, could that story be any more amazing? He wore that shirt to a Disturbed concert. Not to dinner, not to a coffee house, to a Disturbed concert. And Joy saw it. I cannot get enough of that story. And Jeremy can't do any more to try to ruin it. Jeremy, man, don't be a dope. Literally saved this guy's life. Great job, Luis.